Okay, now here we are, part 6 of my first box of 45 records, and we're picking up here with Dan Fogelberg, leader of the band. Great song, probably one of his best, in my opinion anyways. And on the B side of that, there was Times Like These. And I learned something from doing this parts 1 through 5 the other day, that I needed to de-sleeve between takes so that we can have less dead screen time. So hopefully this will be a little better, a little more smooth. We've got Johnny Nash now, I Can See Clearly Now. Great pop song from the, I believe, 70s, yeah, 1972. And on the B side of that, we've got How Good It Is, which is not a song I recognize. But you never know. You put these things on the turntable and sometimes you get nice surprises saying, oh yeah, I remember that song. And now we've got Dobie Gray, Sharing the Night Together. And on the B side of that one would be You Can Do It. Reminds me of somebody else, not Dobie Gray. Moving on, we've got Dottie Stevens doing Pink Shoelaces. Love this song, nice poppy song from the 60s. Tan shoes and pink shoelaces. And on the B side of that one, got Coming of Age. Again, not a song I'm familiar with. Moving on, we're getting into some 60s bubblegum now with Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. Fun song. My wife loves the bubblegum stuff, and I like it too. I think it's fun. To me, it falls a little more into some of the comedy categories, but it's fun. Don't Dilly Dally Sally. That's just a fun title, but don't really know that song. And this one here, this is a really great one here. Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? Definitely bubblegum chewing gum. And the B side of that is Aunt Rhody. Next up, getting into some more 70s pop again here. Bluer Than Blue by Michael Johnson. I'm not familiar with anything else that he did, so might have been one of those great one-hit wonders that 45s are so good for. And on the B side of that, Two in Love. Next up, this is a great song that a lot of people don't recognize from the title. I'll mention it, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I put it on, and, oh yeah, they know that song. The Breakup Song by Greg Kinban. Not really sure about the pronunciation on that. I'm guessing it's Kin. They don't write them like that anymore. That's true. 1981 that came out, and it sounds like a late 70s, early 80s pop song. When the Music Starts would be the B-side on that one. Berserkly. And we're moving on to Arista. No, that's just the sleeve. A lot of these sleeves are wrong, and that's largely because many of these 45s come out of jukeboxes. People had jukeboxes, they bought 45s to load them up, and that's why there's a lot of these special order ones, Goldie and Oldies, because they were in demand still for people loading up their jukeboxes. Well, when you load up your jukebox, you put the sleeves in a box in the bottom of it. Sometimes they threw them away, so a lot of them you don't get with sleeves, but you seldom had them put back in the correct sleeves. So that's why a lot of the times they're mismatched, and I haven't taken the time to go through and rematch them all up. But this is a great one, the Monkees theme song from the TV show. And it's got another great song of theirs on the B-side, Last Train to Clarksville. Next to Daydream Believer, that's probably one of their more well-known songs. And up next, we've got a song that I personally really loved, was Oh What a Night, late December 1963 by the Four Seasons. Well, Frankie Valli was with them there, but it's just noted as the Four Seasons on this one. You notice it's even Four Season Records Company, so they must have started up their own record company, which a lot of bands do, or did private pressings and then just had a plant and then created their own labels. The B-side of that's the Who Loves You, which isn't a song of theirs that I'm familiar with. I think I've got a couple different versions of that song on 45. And then now we're moving on to James Brown here. I Got You, I Feel Good. You know, that's a classic song, one of James Brown's more well-known ones. And on the B-side of that, I Can't Help It, I Just Do. King Records. There's so many interesting names for companies that were putting out music back in the day. Here we've got ABC Records. Steely Dan, Ricky Don't Lose That Number. That's a really well-known song by Steely Dan. The B-side of that, Any Major Dude Will Tell You. Don't know that song as well. But I really love the Ricky Don't Lose That Number. That's a good song. Now on Atco here, we've got a Cream. I believe this is an original. You'll notice it says Mono Master on both sides actually. So, and I've discussed that before, but we'll probably end up repeating ourselves a lot with some of the details and facts. Mono versions were especially good for AM radio stations. So a lot of, especially promo records that were sent out to DJs would have the mono version on one side and stereo version on the other. But What a Bring Down is the B-side of Badge. Sorry about that, bumping the camera there. I gotta be a little more careful. Now we've got a Columbia sleeve and an RCA disc. Now this is definitely not an original print, because I do believe I have an original print. And Shout Part 1 by the Isley Brothers. It's a gold standard. That's also usually a dead giveaway. That's a reissue. And that song was broken up into two parts. Part 1 on side 1 and Part 2 on side 2. That's done with a number of songs back in the day that ran a bit too long for the radio or for the format's limitations. American Pie is one that I find rather interesting. If you get an original 45 copy of that, the song is broken in half. Here we go on Epic Records now. We got the Bobby Fuller 4, I Fought the Law, and the Law Won. That's a good song. And the B-side of that, Love's Made a Fool of You. Moving on, well, we're definitely popping up a few years. Matthew Wilder, Ain't Nothing Gonna Break My Stride, Ain't Nothing Gonna Slow Me Down. And on the B-side of that is the instrumental version of the same song. That'd probably be a really interesting listen. You notice that one's got a barcode. That's probably one of the earlier ones with the barcode, because it's 1983 and it already has a barcode. Most of the 45s I've run across with barcodes are pushing the 90s, definitely the later 80s, early 90s. But that's probably an early barcode. Here's definitely a reissue, back-to-back hits. That's always a dead giveaway that it's not the first time that song was issued on a 45. The Everly Brothers, Wake Up Little Susie. I believe that one's going back to the late 50s, maybe early 60s, originally. And the B-side to that, though, even though this is a back-to-back hits, I don't recognize the song Bird Dog. Maybe if I threw it on, like I said, there's a lot of songs that you just don't recognize by the titles. But you put them on, hear a few notes, and you immediately remember. It takes you right back. And So we've got time for one more here, because we're right at the 10-minute mark. And it's going to be an RCA Elvis Presley, Puppet on a String. That's got to be the B-side. I must have got those reversed here. And definitely, because Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear is definitely an Elvis song that I remember. Puppet on a String, I do not. Again, you can see this is a mono, and it's only 1 minute and 46 seconds long. Boy, they were short in the beginning. But Puppet on a String is stereo. You notice it says it's from Girl Happy, the motion picture. And the Teddy Bear actually has it listed as being from the soundtrack for Loving You. So there you have it. And we'll be back with part 7.